20, chapter 20, and over here we're doing a lot of the 9 times tables and 8 times tables. So the 8s are some of the harder multiplication tables where we kind of have to just learn them and memorize them. The 7s and 8s are like that. But if you know, remember that if you know your 9s, you know your 8s, and remember how we do our 9s. We do 9, right here it's doing 9 times 8. So 9 times 8, we look at the number that's being multiplied by 9. We do 1 less, which is 7. 8 minus 1 is 7. And then 7 plus 2 gives us 9, so it's 72. Okay? So remember that way. When it comes to, this is 8 times 6, or 6 times 8. But remember, the way that we can do this quickly is if we know 8 times 5, okay, and 8 times 5 is 40, then we just add another 8 to get 8 times 6. That's one more group of 8, okay, because this is 5 groups of 8. Now this is going to be 6 groups of 8, so it's 48. So we just add one more 8 to this one, okay? Because right here it's just one more group of 8. That's how we do that one. The 7 times 8, remember that we do 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it has to go in that order. If you see 7, 8, then you know that 5, 6 is what's missing. So anytime you see 7, 8, it's 5, 6. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? And then, then there's other ones that you just have to know, like your 2s you should know. If you don't know your 2s, then that's not good. Practice them. If you know your 2s, which you should, then you can just add another 8 to that. 16 plus another 8. But I would rather you just know your 3s as well. So practice your 3s if you don't know them. The 8 times 8 is 64. We know that for 9 times 7 equals 63. So just know that for the 8s there is no 63 because a lot of kids get confused and put 63 instead of 64. Just know that there is no 63. That's for the 9s. So there has to be the other number that's 64 is 8 times 8. Okay, so don't get confused with those. And then these are all kind of similar. Okay, over here it shows us multiply 8 by 8 to find the number of sides on the stop signs. We know that here there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. And if there are 10 of the sides, then 8 times 10 will give us 80. Okay. Over here is the same thing because it's the same thing. It's kind of like a stop sign. It's an octagon shape, and there's 6 of them. So 6 times 8, because there's 8 sides, gives us 48. Okay, and then it says at the bottom, I can buy 8 oranges for $1. How many oranges can I buy with $3? If you can buy 8 for 1, then 8 times 3, because you have $3, is 24. Okay, so then over here we go back to just some multiplication, and we went over a lot of these already. The 4s, you have to just learn those. You can always do, if you're stuck on the 4s and you have something like 8 times 4 and you don't know what it is, then you can always do 8 times 5 is 40, and then you can just subtract an 8. Because remember, this is 5 groups of 8. This is 4 groups of 8. So this is just, over here is just 1 less than this one. So if we just take one of the groups of 8 away, we have 32. So this is 32. Okay? So always have those in the back of your head just in case you're not sure and you forget. But you should know your multiplication tables by now. If not, then you can always use little tricks like this to help you and make sure that you get it correct. Okay? Okay. This is more review. Okay, over here it has some word problems that say, for a family reunion, we ordered 7 pizzas with 8 slices in each pizza. Remember, 7, 8, we're missing 5, 6. Okay, so it's 56. How many slices did we receive in all? 56 slices, okay? Okay. So here it says 9 gallons of punch. Number 18, 9 gallons of punch were made for the reunion. If 1 pint is enough for 1 person, how many people can be served? So over here we have to know, okay? We have our measurements, okay? Little kind of a little worksheet that I gave you guys at the beginning of the semester, but it's also in your book, in the back of the book, I think, or in the front. I don't remember. Let me see. It's in the back. Let me check. Probably in the front. Oh, nope, there it goes. So page 435, you'll see all of your measurements here, okay? Right here, there's measurements. Anything that the book uses will be over here on page 435. So you can go there if you don't have the sheet that I gave you at the beginning of the semester. But it says 9 gallons, so 1 gallon, okay, we know equals 8 pints, okay? So we know that 1 gallon equals 8 pints, and it says 9 gallons of punch were made. If 1 pint is enough for 1 person, how many people can be served? So we have to turn this into pints because each person gets 1 pint. And then that way we'll know how many people if we know how many pints. So we'll say if we have 9 gallons, okay, and we want to convert those into pints, we just multiply. How do we do our nines? What are we multiplying by? By 8. 9 times 8. So we do 1 less than 8, which is 7, and 7 plus 2 equals 72. So 72 people can be served. Okay? There's just more multiplication, more review, more octagons. Okay, over here, we'll do some of this. This one has, this is some review, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows how to do this. So we have 100 times 3, okay? The way multiplication works is everything on the bottom, when it's stacked like this, every number on the bottom gets multiplied by every number on the top. Okay, we start with the bottom. So we do 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 1 is 3. Okay? So anytime you have hundreds in the back like that, it really is just 3 times 1, and then you bring down the zeros as well. You can do it that way, but just remember how it actually works because they're not always going to be zeros. Okay? So, and then when we come here to the bottom, this is more review, but sometimes students don't remember this, so I just want to make sure that you guys do. What we do is we're putting greater than, less than, or equal to over here. Okay, remember that the sign opens up to the greater number because it's going to eat that number, okay? So it opens up to the bigger number. So if we have 7 times 7 on this side, that is 49. And then if we have 7 plus 7 over here, that's 14. So then this one is bigger, so we would put this one. We would put 49 is greater than 14. Okay, that's how that reads. And the same thing goes for this one. Okay, you solve first. Once you solve, then you can put in your greater than or less than. And then okay, we have this, which students have been having a hard time with. The borrowing in subtraction is something that students are really struggling with. So always have your students do these at home and check these if you see them in the homework, because that way they can get that extra practice and kind of that extra set of eyes. But what we do is we're doing 2 minus 4. We start in the back and we start 1 column at a time. And if it helps to do this, then go ahead and do that to help yourself stay where you're supposed to be. Okay, so we have 2 minus 4. We cannot do that. That's not enough. We only have 2. We cannot give anyone 4. So we take 1 away from here, and that becomes a 5. And we bring the 1 over here in front. So that becomes a 12. Okay? Make it a little bit neater. Okay, so that becomes a 12. Okay? So 12 minus 4 is 8. Then we come over here, and we have 5 minus 7. Again, we don't have enough because we only have 5. We can't give away 7. So we go to our neighbor again, and we take 1 away. Okay, we borrow 1, we give it to this guy. Now we have 15 minus 7. And what is that? That is 8. And then we have 4 minus 3, that's 1, and then we get 188. That's how that is done, okay? Okay, okay, this is one that students have a hard time with too. It says Nigel beat Richard in a game by a score of 458 to 328. What is the difference in their scores? Okay, so the difference means if you subtract those, what's going to be the kind of the in between, okay? The in between, the numbers in between these, like if they were on a number line, how much is in between them? So the difference just means subtraction, okay? So it would be 458, okay, minus 328. And these would be 0, this would be 3, and this would be 1, okay? So that's the difference in their scores. The difference is subtraction, okay? Okay, then we move on here, and this is all more review. More review here as well, the subtraction, okay. For this one. I like to do these problems because these problems are two-step problems. I think this one is, let me see. So it says Kent is shopping for 2 used lawn mowers for his golf course. He found a riding mower for $549 and a push mower for $86. He has $350 to use. How much more money does Kent need to buy the 2 mowers? Okay, so first we're going to find out, okay, because we know he has $350. That's how much Kent has, okay, has. Then we know that he needs 2 of these lawnmowers, and one of them is $549, and the other one is $86. Okay, so we're going to add those because he needs both. It says he's shopping for 2 used lawnmowers. Okay, so we have to find out how much both of them cost together. 9 plus 6 is 15. Okay. 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13, okay, and then 5 plus 1 is 6, okay. So this is how much both of the lawnmowers would cost him, but he only has $350. So how much more money does he need? Well, now we have to subtract. This is how much he needs altogether. This is how much he already has, okay, and what the difference between these two numbers is going to be what he still needs. So 5 minus 0 is 5, okay? 3 minus 5, we can't do that, so we're going to go ahead and take 1 away from here. That becomes a 5. We bring down that one that we took away. That becomes a 13, and 13 minus 5 is 8. And then we come back here, 5 minus 3 is 2. So he still needs $285 so that he can get both of those lawnmowers, okay? And that's all for chapter 20.